All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 49 of the Daily BLP. I am your humble host, Brian Collins. Joined with me today is Matt Dugan from Pivot Studios. How's it going, Matt?
Doing good, brother. Glad to be here.
Yeah, excellent. And I do have my right-hand man in the chair, Declan Collins, is here too. Can't see him, but you can hear him. What's up, bud?
I'm doing good.
Nice. Glad to have you back and alive. Where you been? What's been going on? Why you been slacking? Been at home, right? Oh, that's right. It's summertime, and you youngsters get to do whatever you want pretty much for a few months. Cool. Well, let's get rolling into today's show without further ado. But first, let's hear from, again, our sponsor of the day, PanaHealth Care Solutions remote scribe program, Scribe. Are you a doctor or a nurse practitioner or a physician of some sort, and your day is just jam-packed full of visits? You just don't have time to get to all that documentation that you need to be dealing with. Well, if that's you, then we've got something for you. Our remote scribe program is perfect to solve your problems. If you've got way too many visits, not enough time to deal with them, it's affecting home life, you're bringing work home, then what you need is a scribe. You need a real person, not an AI that you have to babysit, not a piece of software that you got to talk to and fix. You need a real professional scribe next to you virtually in every visit, listening in, taking notes, discerning exactly what needs to go in the charts for your patient so that you can apply the care that you got into this business for and let us take care of the documentation. So if that sounds like you, head on over to panahealthcaresolutions.com/medical-scribe-services and check us out. If you're interested, reach out via the website. We'll get back to you and arrange a time to give you a little walkthrough and see if we can get our free trial for you started right away. Again, Metascribe Remote Live Scribes. Okay, let's roll. What's going on with business with you, Matt? Anything cooking this week, halfway through the week?
Yeah, got some good stuff going on in the pipeline. Just for some new videos, clips, things like that. A lot of branding videos with some kind of startup like companies looking to just get their name out there. So met with a few of those companies this week, and all is looking good. Just kind of trying to obviously with every product is a bit different with how we angle the video. Whether we want to interview the owner or if we want to just overview the software, those kind of things. So yeah, just running through all that good stuff. How about yourself?
Cool. Yeah, not a lot of meetings or anything on the books with new potential business. So it's really been a kind of a strategy week so far for me. But it's allowed me to breathe a little bit and catch up on all the deals that we've got in the pipeline, some of which have gone stale, some of which we've lost, some of which we've won. We just haven't moved along in our CRM to really kind of calculate how we're doing versus, our yearly projections. And I'm still pretty old school. I've got so many different systems and stuff that I'm trying to keep up with, but I find that what works best for me is just to put big paper on the wall and write things out. Because when I'm sitting at my desk and I start to get kind of over stimulated with everything that's going on, and you get paralyzed, like, what the heck do I do next? Kind of look over at the big yellow chart and I can see, okay, here's all my IT prospects. Did we win? Did we lose? Are we still in it? What's the value? Here's all my healthcare prospects. Boom. So I'm starting to see how things are lining up, and it's not too bad, but it's caused me to kind of evaluate and really look at how are we doing with our partnerships that help us generate that business, right? Because, as small business owners, and I know too, that you just get in the thick of it, and sometimes you forget to look up and figure out, hey, is this money I'm spending on this relationship with this vendor, is it paying off?
Definitely.
So I've had some time to kind of evaluate the couple of relationships that we have. Like, we work with a company called 360 Connect for our revenue cycle management leads. We've been with them a number of years, and we drop a good $4,000 a month or so on that service. And they're supposed to be sending us leads as a budget, so much per lead. And man, just looking back over the last year, it's been not great. They send us leads, but the quality has really gone down. And a lot of people will argue about that, like, oh, lead's a lead, quality. No, when you're in it, a good quality lead from a bad one, right?
100%.
When someone's just feeding you leads that are coming into their pipeline that nobody else wants. You know what I mean? So we've been getting a lot of those, and those are competitive leads. So when they send them to us, they're also sending them to at least 5 other competitors. Now they told us 5, but check this story out. So in this process, Manny and I were talking, hey, is this worth it? We're spending all this money. We don't have anything to show for it this year. We've been working the process like we always have. It's just not getting the results anymore. So we're thinking we're just going to cut ties because it's not a long-term relationship or anything. It's just like, hey, month to month. So I've been getting hit up on text messages and email by this other medical billing lead generation company. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's just been pinging me every day. Another text message. Hey, this is Tim from so-and-so. Oh, we need billing leads. And I'm just like, oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. And now I'm like, okay, I'll check them out. So I took them out on intriguing, sent them over to Manny. I'm like, hey, look at these guys. He did. So we got together yesterday, and typically what we do is like, let's just call these guys, see if anybody answers the phone, because most of the time nobody answers the phone on these things. Mm-hmm. So I picked up the phone. This Tim guy answered. Hey, this is Tim. Hey, Tim, this is Brian. Oh, okay, yeah, I've been emailing you. Yeah, I know, a lot. But so I was like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we're looking for. Tell me about what you got. So he starts explaining. Here's what we do. We do all the back end SEO on our website and all the Google ads and everything, and anything we generate are billing leads that we send to you based on the deal you have with us. Do you want 3 leads a month? Do you want 9? Do you want 12? Whatever. And then the more you pay for per month in advance, the cheaper each lead is. And then he has an option where they'll book the appointments too. So we called, hey, we want to know about this booking thing. We ain't got time for this stuff. Yeah. And he's like, he was super transparent with it. He's like, I'll be honest, we can do it, but if you buy, 10 booked appointments, it's going to take us possibly 90 days to fill that. I'm like, really? That's a long time, And he's like, well, if you buy 10 leads, we'll have that done for you in a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, because it's different, it's harder, which we know. That's why we want somebody to do it for us, to book them, because you got to chase them and, lock them in and stuff. And so anyway, we're talking to him, and he's telling us how he gets these leads. It's exactly how 360 Connect gets the leads. And I'm like, well, we're working with a company that works similar to you guys. They're called 360 Connect. Are you familiar with them? He's like, yeah, they buy leads from me.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, they're a customer of mine. They buy a ton of leads from me. So this whole time, I'm sure they get some on their own with their own system, but they're buying leads and then reselling them to us multiple times over, like fractional reserve lead selling.
Interesting. Like white labeling the leads, essentially.
Like, so like what a bank does when you put money in the bank, right?
Yep.
You put 10K in the bank. They don't have 10K. They loan it out 10 times, right? So they can loan out 100K off your 10K. That's what they're doing with these leads. They'll buy, let's say, 10 leads from them, and they're selling them to however many. Now, they've always told us it's only 5. You and five competitors get this lead, and it's, first come, first serve. So then you got to jump on them, right? And but what Tim told me is like, sometimes they're giving those leads out to 30 people. Because he's like, he talks to some of these actual leads, and they're getting just slammed by tons of people, not just 5. So that explains a lot too, because sometimes by the time we call them, they're just fatigued. They're like, I've already talked to way too many of you guys. I wish I wouldn't have filled out that form. Leave me alone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, that defeats the purpose.
Yep.
So
definitely.
But that was interesting. So we're looking at maybe working with those guys.
Nice.
Because if we work with this other company, it's exclusive. Whatever leads we buy from is ours. He doesn't sell them to anybody else.
That's nice. Yeah. That's worth it just right there to know that you're the only one calling.
That's way better. So we're like, well, that's an opportunity. I'm like, well, let's see if there's a couple more out there. So I took a little time, searched for a couple more, and tried calling them. I tried calling 2 more, and they didn't even answer the phone. They didn't have something. It was right to voicemail. I'm like, doing sales myself, like that's the last thing you want. If you're really interested in leads coming in, you don't want your leads going to voicemail, because they're just going to hang up and call the next one. Exactly. So that wasn't that. I left voicemails for them. I haven't heard anything back yet. So we'll see, but we're looking to kind of shake things up that way a little bit. I've been doing a little bit. I did a little bit of work today just to see over the course of the last 4 months, February through May, what's kind of how has Arsenal really been doing for us? And I'm happy with them. But at the same time, Bobby's been slowing down a little bit, I think. So, and I think the reason is because he's got a bigger caseload. I'm not his only client.
Right.
They load their good guys up 5 or 6 different clients, and he's got to get at least 3 appointments per month per client. And some of his clients are in harder to book appointment places. So, but I ran the numbers, and this month he's averaging 11 calls a day for us.
Nice.
That's not much.
Yeah.
That's not much. So
Yep.
I'm meeting with I'm meeting kind of with the sales manager tomorrow. So I'm just going to kind of try to get inside of his head about it. And again, it's not because I'm unhappy per se, but I feel like, I think we're paying something like maybe $3,500 a month plus commissions when we close things. Bobby gets commissions, which is awesome for him. But $3,500 a month for 11 calls a day. That's a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's just like,
I agree. I mean, if I'm thinking of cold calling, I'm thinking if you want to be a successful cold caller, you got to be hitting at least 50 a day. That's just where I go. I've at previous roles where I've been cold calling, I've been held to standards of, 100 a day, and there'd be leaderboards and all that. So that definitely is low. But just one thought that I think you're already doing this, but really for just business owners out there is when you're using vendors and things of that nature is just really being on top of it. Not only is important, number one, just so you understand where your money is going, but two, it could be subconsciously. I like to think it's not intentional. People get busy, but at a certain point, if you have a vendor and they know you're not paying too much attention, they can subconsciously, consciously, whatever you want to say, get a little complacent. And so when you're on top of it, you're letting them know, hey, I'm looking at this stuff. Hey, they're like, okay, this is a client. We really want to make sure we're serving correctly because he's on top of things. So like even though it's not like, hey, I'm unhappy, let's do more. You're just going in to have that conversation. Just say, hey, I'm seeing this. How could we improve? Yada, yada. Just right there. That's like, okay, Panacea, we got to really give them extra attention because, that's just how the world is. I think with vendors is they understand who's paying attention and who's not. And that's just how the game is.
Yeah. And listen, Bobby's a bulldog. He likes to get after it. He wants to win. He wants to see the dollar signs at the end of a salesman's check, right?
Yep.
Because he told me a story when I didn't meet with him on Friday because I was out of the office, but previous Friday, we meet every Friday. And he was telling, I'm like, how's things going for your other clients? He's like, yeah, pretty good. One of them's really tough. He has to call into LA. He's like, it's really hard to book appointments in LA. Kind of like he calls into Phoenix for us, and it's really hard to get anything in Phoenix. These big markets are tough because they're super competitive, and everybody's got really thick skin. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm like, so it was like the last day of the month. He needed to book 3 appointments for this client for the month, and I think he was 1 or 2 down, and he ended up staying in the office Central Time till 7 p.m.
Love that.
Which is 5 p.m. PST. It's still so he can make those, but he stayed. Most, I will say 95% of salespeople would have given up.
Yep.
They'd have been like, it's Friday, it's 5 o'clock, there's no way I'm getting anything else. I'm just going to go enjoy my weekend and take the hit, you know? And, nope, Bobby G was like, I'm staying until I get it. So I know he's willing to do the work that it takes. The trick is, I think it's a little bit of them playing the averages because they're probably coaching him up. Hey, you've got 5 clients to keep happy, right? You've got to get these in. Because I know he's probably dialing more than 100 a day across all his clients. But I think what he's found on us is he can do less dials and get a booked appointment, which is great. But I went through all the appointments and he's probably averaging right at around 3. Like the first month it was 2 and some cancellations. I don't count cancel. If you book appointment, they don't show or they cancel, it doesn't count. Okay. So there was 2 the first month. There was 5 in March. There was 3 in April and I think 3 in May. So he's like right there. There's been some cancellations. But what I did with each of the ones that did happen, I looked at, did they have an actual need? Now, I don't stop them from booking appointments just because they don't have a pressing IT need right now. I'm okay with let's get introduced, let's meet each other appointment. but it is what it is. It's not like an appointment where putting, an estimate or a quote in their hands at that point is going to do anything,
Yep.
So it's a little bit of that. So I think he's had some good success. Like he knows it's it's funny because I look at the total monthly numbers too, getting a little bit into the weeds, but this is important. These are the kind of things listeners, if you guys are looking at starting a business, or you have a business, stuff you got to do.
Yep.
I'm looking at the February, he made 450 some calls. In March, like 405 or 407, and 404 and like 407 again. So he's right around a little over 400 every month is kind of getting him to that number. So I know everybody on their team is kind of, okay, you've kind of hit that ticker. You got to get caught up over here, make thousands of calls until you get caught up.
Yep.
So beggars can't be choosers. I'm getting appointments, but at the same time, I'm like, man, if we tightened it up a little bit on the qualifying factor for a good appointment, not crazy, not like, every appointment has to be a slam dunk. Some of it's up to me to do a good job selling. Yeah, I think if we took all the appointments that he's booked and we added the no needs and the cancellations, there'd be more of those than the others. Right. So that's why I think we just need to clean that up a little bit from a qualification standpoint. But anyway, that's that. Again, I'm not unhappy with Arsenal. In 9 years of doing this business, they've been the best partner we've had, and it's only been 5 months. But I still think there's a little bit of cleanup that can do to get better results, I think. So
Good stuff.
Yeah. What is next? What's going on in the world today? U.S. economic growth is on the list. So apparently things are looking better. I noticed the other day that an 18 pack of eggs was like $4.02 at Walmart. So that's down from like $8 not that long ago. So that's good. We can all maybe afford to eat eggs a little bit more here soon. And I eat a ton of eggs. So that's good. And that's just like a little indicator. Gas is kind of weird. I don't know. How much is gas by you?
It's like it averages, it stays around the threes. I've seen it go as high as like 330, and I've seen it as low as like 290. So that's around the range we're at in Colorado here.
Yeah, that's about what we're here in Wisconsin right now. It's like 307, I think, today. And 2 days ago, it was 289 and a little bit lower in some spots. But yeah, we're hovering. It's like hovering around that. I have a feeling a lot of this bombing and stuff in Israel and Iran in the Middle East is affecting some of those prices. I don't know how much that does. We have a lot of oil here and other partners too, but gas isn't too bad. But overall, I'd have to look at grocery bills to see if anything. Overall, things are just still really expensive, I think. But the economy must be growing. I think there's plenty of work out there for people if people really want to work. I'm trying to do this thing now, Matt, over the last couple of days where when I get reports on this stuff, I try to look at all the angles, the left, the right, and the center. So on here, it's saying that, progressive folks are kind of highlighting strong consumer spending and labor growth, but at the same time, they're calling for caution on wealth inequality. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about it. Yeah, there's wealth inequality. Not everybody deserves or can handle to be really, I don't know how good I would be at being really wealthy.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always thought of that too. You never really know. And you never know what you're going to want or what you do with it too. And it'd be interesting to have, that amount.
I mean, the perfect indicator of that is lotteries.
Yep.
People who win the lottery, they're usually more broke a few years after than they were before. Because there's a certain skill that either takes a learning, through time or a trial and error. And there's some wisdom that's needed to be able to handle that, either surrounding yourself with good people that you trust or knowing how to do it yourself. The other view over on the right side of the world, conservative media applauds tax reforms for driving business growth. I mean, that's fine. Whether you're cutting taxes on, individuals or businesses, what I've learned from being an employee and being business, when taxes are lower, then you're more, you're more, what's the word I'm looking, not lenient. It's not like but you have more to spend because you keep more, and a business will invest more in, even when a business owner is making more taxes, you pay so much taxes in business that if at the end of the year you have an extra, for a small business owner, let's say you have an extra $30,000 of revenue that if you didn't have to give them to taxes, right? Well, if you just take that on your person, you will be taxed for it. But when you reinvest that in your business, it's an expense. You're not.
Yep.
So I don't know if a lot of folks understand. I didn't understand that when I was younger, before I got into doing this. I didn't understand that, but that's the truth. It's like when a business makes more, yeah, they might give more to their investors if they have them, if they're a publicly traded company or something, or they might take more for themselves, but they're going to have to claim it personally. Yep. So they're going to pay more on it. So typically what happens is you invest back in the business, because by doing that, you invest in the things that allows the whole business to grow, so you can pay your people more, so you can start new services and earn more revenue, employ more people. So that's typically what happens. And what happens when taxes rise is people find ways to not pay them, especially wealthy people. So
Yep. All good thoughts there.
Anyway, apparently there's a global heat wave. Is it hot in Colorado right now?
Nothing crazy. It was very, very rainy. I think we went like last week through yesterday, pretty much. We had a mini thunderstorm / rain / hail just about every single day. So we've kind of gotten that like weather, but I think it just brought in that heat wave you're talking about, because yesterday and today it's been sunny. I think it's reaching up into the 80s now, which is pretty hot. I think it'll get up to, this is, like I said, this is my first summer here in the Springs in Colorado, but yeah, I heard it can really get up there into the hundreds in the peak summer here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yesterday it was probably the hottest day for us so far. We had our baseball game. It was like 86 or so before it started cooling off in the evening. And that felt pretty hot. It was a little bit of a breeze. But it's supposed to be getting, this weekend, it's supposed to get into the 90s here. We're going to go, for my wife's birthday, we're going to take the kids to this big water park called Noah's Ark.
Oh, nice.
And it's supposed to be like 94. So, but you know what? It's stinking June. We're like halfway through June.
Yeah.
Parts of the world that aren't like super far north, and we're pretty far north, you're going to get hot. It's what happens. I'm like, it gets old. I don't know about you, Matt. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old.
Right.
I didn't pay attention to any of this stuff when I was younger, but it gets old when every time you get a couple days of cold weather, or a couple of days of hot weather, or a couple of days of a lot of rain, or a couple of days of no rain, they got to throw a bunch of people on TV and now YouTube and now on social media saying about it's a different type of end of the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So old. So here it says, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm from Virginia Beach, so I am, and I don't know if anyone out there is familiar with it, but that is just about the most bipolar weather you can stink and get. And so that's the only thing is when it goes back and forth like that, I'm like, okay, I've been seeing this since I was a kid. This is just how the weather works sometimes. It is a little more stationary and consistent here.
Yeah.
But man, living at the beach in Virginia Beach, you could get literally snow one day and it'd be in the 60s the next day. No exaggeration.
That's how it is in Wisconsin. And the saying here is, hey, you don't like the weather, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, because it's almost, it can be nice because you get a variety, and all of a sudden you can get surprised with a really nice day when you're used to it being junky.
Yep.
But it's really hard to plan things. Like
it is.
When people have to plan weddings and going places and stuff, it's like, man, like a storm will pop up out of nowhere, or it'll be April, the end of April, almost May, and it'll be snowing for some stupid reason. But everybody's got so it's going to be hot the next couple days. See, I told you, climate change. And I was like, come on, seriously.
Yep, I agree.
Anyway, what's the left saying? The left says climate-focused outlets stress urgency for green energy investment. I mean, seriously, literally the weather changes from day to day depending on where you live. And it's, we gotta do something about green energy because, we're just 10 years, we're done. The other side is saying coverage tends to focus on grid reliability and energy cost concerns. I would to me, that's not necessarily just a climate thing. I mean, when I hear about our grid being like 30, 40 years old, that just concerns me, period. Like, why isn't there some kind of like annual, like how, you see your city going around, like right now, the city's been working its way down our road, fixing, I think, pipes. So they're pulling up road and putting pipes in and putting down, they're slowly working their way down. It's just the process of having a city. Yep. Things wear out and you find out where those are and you've got your crews and this is our street. Our street is this year, apparently. And you'd think that's kind of how the grid would be too. Like you look at the age, you look at the performance, and you build in and budget for fixing it or updating it or something.
Yep.
But I will say, if you want more green energy via electric, via solar, via all that kind of stuff, you need an updated grid. Because if everybody had electric everything, the grid would not be able to handle it for sure. And then the guys in the middle, the guys who can't pick a side, that reporting is focusing on public safety, advisories and infrastructure strain. So, hey, just letting put a note out there on PBS. It's going to be hot this week or whatever. Yep. So, Anyway, last one on here is AI regulation framework has been introduced in Congress. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, there could be two frames of thought to it, and this is where my mind goes, not being super informed on it.
Me neither, not yet.
One is, okay, it is important for, there to be some sort of regulations, especially with AI, scamming, things like better business ethics. It is important for there to be some, I think, somewhat governing authority over AI. But then that flips to the other side where my thoughts go, where it's like, okay, I kind of want the government to stay out of my business. I kind of, they shouldn't be involved in this. This is how I operate. I want to operate my business how I want to. Yeah. So those are kind of my two the two thoughts are kind of opposing each other. But when I hear that, that's kind of where my brain goes is, okay, it is good to have some sort of regulation because there are people that will take advantage of things. But at the same time, government interference with things like business and AI, it's like, do we really need more oversight? So that's kind of where my thoughts go.
Yeah. I mean, is it the government's business how I write my email or how I make my copy for my website or something like that. You know what I mean? And or is it the government's business that I use an AI for my assistant to make sure I don't miss anything on my schedule? All those kind of things. Like how deep does the oversight go for that? But at the same time, you're right. Like, how do we make sure that AI is regulated or the technology is regulated in a way to limit what it can and can't affect or, those kind of things.
100%.
Like if an AI is so smart that it can rewrite its own code to not shut itself down when it's told to, what's stopping it from being smart enough if my AI and your AI live in the same data center? What's keeping it from being smart enough from finding each other and sharing information to benefit somebody else or itself? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a weird thing. It's kind of like what I said yesterday. It's almost to like, because those are really strong opposing forces. It's like, man, were we not better off when we didn't have to worry about those two things?
Right. Yeah. To your point, just if we could go back and not have it, would that and ultimately be a good thing? Pandora's box, Kung Fu Panda's box is open. Yep.
Anyway, that's the AI chat for the day. It seems like it comes up every day. Let's talk basketball. Game 6 tonight, Indiana. Apparently Halliburton's going to be playing.
Yeah. I think I saw it was. I know he did get injured a little bit last time. I saw though he was 0 for 6 for field goals, and he did have 4 points. I assume those came from free throws. I didn't watch the whole game, but that was kind of to my point last time. He hasn't been quite the star power that he has before, and he needs to at least, I think, if they're going to win a game, he at least needs 15 to 20 points from him alone if they have any chance.
Yeah, I mean, he's a star. And he said I was watching kind of the reports on it after the last game, and said he had tightness in his calf.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to think of, what that's like. I know when a calf is like overworked in a game situation or lifting, you know what I mean? And it's so tight that it's, you just got no energy left in it, or it's tight, that it's cramping up. That's impossible to do anything unless you just sit and work that sucker out. You know what I mean? I've had it in a time. I remember in a track meet where I got done. I had 2 races back to back, and I got done with the second race, and I was walking off the track into the infield in the grass, and all of a sudden, I uncontrollably went up on both tiptoes. And I'm walking around and I'm just not like little tiptoes. I'm like, my heels are way up in the air because my calves just cramped up, and I couldn't do anything about it. I'm just like walking on my tiptoes, and eventually I just fell over, and it was so painful. It was crazy, but I don't think that's what that was. And, I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm not sure. It seems like, nothing too crazy, thankfully. And at the end of the day, never want to see anyone get hurt, no matter if they're on a team you don't agree with or not. But for him specifically, it seemed like you were saying, nothing too serious, especially if he's able to play in this next game and move forward. And I mean, at least he was walking around. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, at his level, he played the half. You're right. He was 0 for 6. I mean, that's not that many shots in a game. I mean, you could go 0 for 6 and end up with 40 points at the end of the game, once you catch a little bit of heat. Yeah. But it sounded like he went in the locker room at halftime. I don't know if he came back and played again or not, but when you're at that level, I mean, if you can still perform to some degree, you should have some sort of impact. But I guess he just didn't. Maybe he was just worried about, or maybe the team was worried about him hurting it worse, and they just kind of hedged their bets. Hey, we're away. Chances are, whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about him. They got other great players. Their bench carried the game that they won previously. Yep. They didn't show up. I think the turnover stat was something like they had 23 or 24 turnovers, but OKC scored 31 points on turnovers. I mean, you ain't winning with that stat.
Nope.
So they got to protect the ball, and they got
the old saying. It's like, what is it? Offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Mm-hmm. That's the oldest term in the book, and it's true. I mean, defense can do you well if you know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, if you're consistent with defense, because a defense can be a good offense, especially in basketball, right? Definitely football for sure. If you're good at takeaways and scoring on takeaways or putting your offense in a good field position from turnovers, but you can amass 10, 15, 20 turnovers in a basketball game, and they lead to immediate transition offense if they're the right type of turnover. You know what I mean? Yep. Or if you get on your horse right away and get down the court. Yep. So, and then that's what OKC is doing. They're such a speed demon offense that they can score so quick and they turn the ball over.
Yep,
you're donezo. So just looking here, they got to minimize turnovers. They got to attack early for sure. They got to get the keep the crowd in it, because if they drop down 10 points or something or more in the first quarter, it's going to bring the crowd out of it until they can try to get caught up. So that's going to be tough. We'll see.
Yep.
This could be it. This could be the end of the finals.
It could.
Hope not.
End all here.
Yeah. Hope not. Hope they get one more game out of it.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Last segment. Anything fun going on with you these last couple of days? Or you got anything planned this weekend? Anything going on?
Trying to think. No, not really. I'm trying to think.
Taking the cat out for a walk, maybe, or something.
Yeah, taking the cat out for a walk. No, kind of the gardening and all that stuff. Now that it's getting nicer out, has been the big thing.
That's cool. Getting some sunshine.
Also, have been potentially looking into getting a dirt bike off the marketplace. Maybe.
Nice.
Been always loved dirt biking. Actually, so I got this scar on my hand here. Got in a pretty bad accident when I was a younger kid. But so cool. We have this big field right out in the back, and we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere where you can kind of just ride them on the street. So I've just been scouring the marketplace a little bit, just now that it's getting hotter out. I don't really have my snowboarding hobby, so trying to pick up something else to do besides golf that'll get me outside. So I've been thinking about that, because that would just be a lot of fun.
I wish. When I was a kid, I always wanted a dirt bike. I had a BMX bike, and we had and we moved around a lot. But at one point in time when I was living with my mom, we lived in this neighborhood outside of Houston area-ish down in Texas, and I couldn't tell you the name of the neighborhood. I think I might have been third grade. But there was right on the outskirt of our neighborhood, which wasn't very far from our house. So when my mom started dating this one guy and she moved in with him and we all moved into his house. But there was this, we called it the tar pits, but there was no tar. Yeah. It was just like a lot of dirt and long grass, but it was all this dirt had been like pushed by front end loaders up into these big mounds like this. And all the kids in the neighborhood over the course of time made them into dirt bike trails, not like motorbike dirt bikes, but like BMX bikes. So we'd go back there and we'd go jump in these hills and stuff. And it was so fun. But I always pretended that I was on a dirt bike. Right. Like I used to always watch them when they'd come, those events would come on TV where the motocross events, and they'd be jumping those bikes like 50 feet in the air and doing like the Supermans and flipping them and stuff. And like, it'd be so cool. Always wanted a dirt bike. I wouldn't be alive if I had one probably because I'm so clumsy, but gosh, that'd be cool, man. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you do. That'd be cool.
It'd be nice. Yeah, and on the marketplace too. I mean, you can get good ones for not really breaking the bank either, just getting a nice used one and stuff. So yeah, just been scouring, and so we'll see. One night could just be like, could find the one, be like, all right, I'm going to pick it up. But yeah, that's been on the radar for sure.
Marketplace has got to be the coolest thing about Facebook.
Yeah,
for
really
sure.
Is. I've sold some things off there too, and I've had great experiences all around with the people getting paid. No sketchy situations. They really got it on lock there as far as that too.
Yeah, as long as you're not a complete doofus, and like, because like you can check out someone's profile and you can pretty much tell when there's fake profiles and stuff like and weird stuff going on. And it's cool. Like in our town, I think they probably do this all over the place now, but there's a special like marketplace meetup parking spots at the police station.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Typically what we'll do is like meet at the Walmart where there's anywhere that's lots of light and cameras and stuff like that. But like,
smart,
typically what we do is like, okay, unless it's something so big that we can't get it there or something. Like we had a lady come, we sold our, backyard, picnic set, like table and chairs. We had like 8 iron chairs that turn, and we had this table with tile built into it, but we wanted something smaller because it was taking up too much room. So we sold it to this nice lady from a different town. She came with a big old truck and trailer, and like we looked at her profile, and then my wife, it's like, this person knows my best friend from high school, and they went to school like down in Milwaukee area. Nice. So you can kind of do a little research to figure out if people are going to be sketchy, but you can find good stuff that isn't worn out, that works. You can sell stuff, know. Yeah. What? Yeah. I got Declan a new to him bike off of there. His bike probably would have cost me $400, but I got it for like $85, and it's like in perfect shape.
Yeah. That's really cool. And that's actually, I mean, they probably have it. It's been a while since I bought something off of there, but the police station one is just a really good idea, just making sure that everyone's safe and things like that. So that's really smart. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, that you can fight, man. You're right. You can buy and sell so much stuff, or you can just like, if you got stuff, like I remember last year we pulled up a flower bed from beside our house that had just been kind of getting overgrown, and I wanted to put in an outside steel shed to keep stuff in and in its place. So I did that. We had a bunch of these hosta plants that had gotten huge. So I pulled them up and divided them up and put them out on the curb. And we put a thing on Marketplace, and I tell you, within 30 minutes, someone already had them snatched up. I was like, good. I don't have all that yard waste and stuff. So
yeah. Same thing when I was moving out of Charlotte. I don't think I posted it, but it was just, I just put it kind of the stuff. It wasn't anything in great condition, but it wasn't like, didn't want to just throw it away. So we put them on the side of the road, and people will take the opportunity to take those things. And it's nice when you're trying to get rid of something, you don't want to have to take it to the dump, take it to, so donated a lot of stuff. And then the stuff that couldn't get taken to like Goodwill, we'd put on the street. And like you said, within a few hours, most of the good stuff, quote unquote, was gone.
Yeah. And like almost anything that you want or might need, depending on like the size of your urban or suburban market, you can find on there. Because I remember when I was looking to buy new equipment for the podcast, I was like, man, this equipment is not cheap. I wonder if anybody's trying to get rid of it. And so I was looking up like the ATEMs, the Blackmagic cameras, I was looking up the Rodecaster and all that kind of stuff. And I would find it, but I could only find it in like Michigan or states away and have to ship here. And I don't trust it that much, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not PayPaling anybody. I'm not giving anybody account numbers. I'm not Zelling in. It's cash. That's it. Bring cash or I'll pay you cash.
Yeah, exactly.
So no one locally had anything, but you can find just almost, you need a computer, you can find it. You don't want to go buy a new one. You need a bike, you need a car, you need all kinds of stuff, man. You can just find it.
Yep.
Cool. I almost bought an old Corvette 2 years ago, but
That would have been cool.
it would have been. I wanted to buy an old Corvette, one that ran kinda, but that my son and I could work on in the garage.
Kind of like a project car a little bit.
Yeah, project car. And then when it was all done, it could be his car. And but I'd get to drive it. But my wife talked me out of it sternly.
Yes.
But I might get back around to doing something like that. You know, like an old 80s or 90s model, just something to tinker with. It'd be fun.
Yep.
But yeah, cool, man. Well, hey, you know, if you find a dirt bike this week or this weekend, you know, don't die on it, but have fun. That's pretty cool.
Yep. I'm a safe guy. I always wear my helmet too.
Wear your helmet.
I've never thought I was too cool for a helmet. And that's a cool thing I've seen recently too. Actually, just sidetracked here. When you see on social media, you know, snowboarders, skateboarders, you see all these videos, a new trend that has started, people comment, no helmet, no like. So it's become the stigma around the helmet of it being not cool. I mean, I'm a little older, so I'm not sure, you know, what the young kids are thinking. But from what I've seen, it seems like the stigma of helmets being uncool has kind of gone away, which is great. And I love to see.
Yeah. Like, deep down, I still don't think it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm a dad. Like you're not so much younger than me that you probably grew up not wearing a helmet, wearing your bike or your skateboard and all that kind. But you're absolutely right. You know, because we were always thinking we're not going fast. We fall down and it's usually our elbows and knees that get hurt. I never hit my head, blah blah blah. But we could have for sure, and we'd have been toast. So yeah, like Deck, when he's riding across town, we live in a city, so there's lots of traffic. He's got a helmet on. He's never not wanted. I don't even have to. I can't. I have to remind him to put shoes on, but I don't have to remind him to put helmet on. You know what I'm saying? But which is good. I do think it's a good thing, and I don't think people look bad. I think skateboard helmets look cool anyway on skateboarders. You know what I mean?
They do. You sticker them up the right way, get some cool sticker. Yeah, you can make it. You can make it swaggy for sure.
Yep. So yeah, I agree with you there. I'm glad that it's not. You know, like, because when I was a kid, if I would have had to wear a helmet and pads or anything, the second I would have got out of eyesight of the house, they'd have been off.
Yeah.
Totally. Because if my buddies would have seen me on it, they would have grilled me and called me a sissy or something. I'm glad it's not like that anymore. Yeah. But that's how it was. I mean, that's probably a bit of why our attitudes are the way they are about things. So.
Yep. Definitely.
Anyway, good show. I think we'll wrap it on that. Wear your helmet, everybody. No helmet, no likey.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir. I should probably wear a helmet when I do this show. Anyway, that was fun. Good show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next time on the Daily BLP. Take care, everybody.